Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And this video is going to be on repairing your credit. Stop competing against yourself. This is like a Saturday blast session just to make sure that I speak and talk to you about what's on my mind and to give you some information on how you can help yourself repair your credit, because it's not just about the technical parts of, sending letters and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff has to do with your mental capacity, your mental state of mind, what you believe you deserve, what do you know what you want? Are you aware of certain things that are happening to you that stop you from being able to follow through and get to where you want to be? So in my video yesterday, I made a long one. So if you make sure that you go and watch that video, it says it was getting approved for a mortgage and why you got denied for a mortgage loan. But in the middle of that video, I went into through some mindset stuff because my channel is also about the mindset. And a lot of people just don't know this, and it goes for credit repair, it goes for everything we do in life. When it really comes down to it, the root of why we are successful and why we fail is because we're competing against ourselves. Like, we don't even know that we're competing against ourselves. When you really dig down to the root on why you can't accomplish something, and I'll include myself, why we have trouble accomplishing things is because we're competing with ourselves. So now let me tell you how you could be competing against yourself unknowingly to repair your credit. And this is uh, like crazy when you think about it this way. But when I dug back into my own personal situation on what I went through, it was like this is it, really. Like, when I lined this stuff up for my personal life, for my financial, and for my credit, like, this template works for everything, but we just sometimes don't know how things are related. Like, we think that this has to be done a certain way or that has to be done a certain way, when it really, the first thing that has to be done the same way all the time is the mental thinking from ourselves, changing ourselves first, and then everything else changes. That's why when someone goes and buys an expensive car, they think that it's the car brings them that, but they forgot that they bought the car. Like, the car didn't buy you, but you buying the car gave you a certain impression to other people. But if you really think about it, down to the root, you bought the car. You are the person. You had the money. You arranged the credit. But people are not used to doing that. We're very external on what we can touch, what we can see, what we can hear. All of that stuff is so much implanted in us that we don't even understand that we are everything. We create, you create, all of us create first here, and then it materializes. So now let's get to work. I want to lay the foundation, just lay this foundation. And if you want to get out a pen and paper, I want you to put a line across the top. This is what we did yesterday. And on one side, on the left side, I want you to put you are here. This is where you are now. And then on the other side, I want you to put your goal. And for this conversation, we'll just relate it to credit repair. So, and then I want you to put some lines. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be equal. You can put one or two. I just want to get the point across about what it is. Those lines represent how you can get to your goal, because we have this internal mechanism inside of all of us that say, if you say that I can repair my credit, I need to know how. Or if I'm going to repair my own credit, I need to know how. Like, and the crazy thing about it is that you don't have to know how. There's a lot of stuff that I don't even know how to do, and I hire people to do it, and then I just take the benefit of it. But we have this internal mechanism that just makes us think that we have to know everything, and that's what slows us down from success. So you do need to know the habits that you have that'll get you to good credit, because you're going to have to deal with those habits. But I'm going to show you how to deal with those habits. But first, I'm going to uncover them, because we can't deal with the habits until we uncover some things about those habits. So the first thing on uncovering those bad habits to repair your credit is, why do you even have those habits? Did you teach yourself those bad habits that ended up having you have bad credit? Did you learn those bad habits from friends? Well, we'll say from parents first, and then from what you observed from other relatives and others. You know, a lot of people pass down, just like you can pass down money to someone, you can pass down bad habits. You can pass down bad habits with food, you can pass down bad habits with financial. A lot of families do not teach their children how to handle money. A lot of families don't. And the thing is that you cannot go to your kid and teach them how to handle money. Trust me, you can't do it that way. The way that kids are going to learn how to handle money is by watching and observing you. Because if you struggle, they are learning to internalize, I have to struggle. They're not going to say it outwardly. You're not going to tell them you got to struggle, but you are struggling as a parent. They hear the phone calls. They hear the door knocking and there's a court summons, or they see it. They hear it. They get the phone calls from the debt collector. My parent isn't here. Or the parent saying, tell them I'm not here. This is learning for them subconsciously. This is teaching them about how to handle their money, and they don't even know it. And you don't even know it. This is how you pass it down. So what they do is they replay. It's like a record. Subconscious mind is a record. You teach a kid how to ride a bike. You don't have to sit there and teach them over and over how to ride a bike once they learn how to do it. That's in the subconscious mind. If you can imagine this, everything that you have in memory is like a record, or a jump drive or whatever. Let's bring it up to the current, or a hard drive. And when you do that thing, you go to that hard drive in your mind, and then you automatically do it. You don't have to teach yourself to do it. So the habits that you learned about your credit, the habits that you've learned about handling your money, the habits you've learned about paying your bills, these are learned. And you've either learned them yourself by just poor management. A habit got to start somewhere, or you learned it from family or other relatives or people who influenced you. And those people can influence you good or bad. So now, understanding your habits are who you are right now. This is like so key. When we put this, you are here, your habits, your habits are who you identify yourself with. So when you look to do something different, you're going to have some issues, and I'm going to explain why. Because when you try to do something against what you are so used to, what you've been training yourself, what you've been hearing, these people were family members, they care about you. This is the way that they handle their stuff. When you try to go against the grain, good or bad, when you try to go against the grain, good or bad, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel very uncomfortable. Like let's just relate it real quick with losing weight. When you know you want to look this way and you want to lose this weight, why 5 minutes later you grabbing the cookies and the chips? Or all of us, I won't take myself out of it. Why are we grabbing the chips and stuff when we know we want this? Because the habit is inside of us. Let me tell you a quick story what happened. This is true. This is about me. I got tired of my stomach being out there. Like I exercise, my arms are good, legs, everything. I couldn't get that stomach where I wanted it. I paid Sanabello $10,000 to suck it out. I saw the commercials. I went to someone who could do it. Like I just said earlier, I pay people to do stuff that I can't do. They suck the fat right out, flat, everything. I'm 53 years old. I think I did that when I was 50 years old. They sucked out 50 years worth of fat. Well, I won't say 50 years because I didn't really start gaining weight till my 20s. So they got it out. But they had, if you listen to the commercial, they say, we're going to suck out this stubborn fat. But when something weird happened after I was finished and they did my post checkups, which I had to go for 3 months in a row, they always reminded, you need that fat can't come back. But in the commercial was right. That fat can't come back because it's gone. It's in the thing. They showed me the big canister. But you want to know what can come back? Is fat cells that you make will grow. Fat cells that are in there can grow. And a little bit after, like they kept telling me that, and a little bit after that time, I was like, I got a little, I just don't look the same, in some spots. I could tell that it's kind of getting back there. Not all the way back there, but I could just see the difference from the surgery. And so what I did is I changed my habit. And it wasn't all about exercise. I was exercising good. That wasn't it. It was the eating. It was the eating. You gotta change the eating habits. You can eat anything you want. You just can't overdo it. And once I did that, nothing, it was just changed. And then also the thing about it is that you have to mentally change and see yourself as that new person. There's a lot of people who get plastic surgery and they don't see the difference, and everybody else sees the difference, but they don't see the difference. That's because they had an uncomfortable feeling of being that new person. So now let's break down the levels, and we're relating it to credit repair. When you attempt to do something that you haven't done, you're going to get uncomfortable. When you start erasing or we start dealing with the habits, asking yourself those questions so you can deal with them, you're going to start feeling uncomfortable, and then these things are going to happen to you. There's more things that happen, but I just broke down, things that just top of mind things that you would probably relate to. First thing when you even say that you want to repair your credit is the first thing that might pop in your mind is to procrastinate. Procrastination is going to be the number one thing, because if you procrastinate and don't do anything, you're comfortable where you're comfortable where you're at. You're just not, you're uncomfortable, but you're more comfortable being and staying where you're at. If you can understand what I'm saying, you're uncomfortable because you want to repair your credit and not happy with where your credit is, but you're comfortable because you don't do anything about it, and you've been in this comfortable area for a long time, so you don't do nothing. So you procrastinate. The next thing is if you decide to move forward with repairing your credit yourself or with a company, is that you have this feeling of perceived failure. That is, let me tell you what perceived failure is. Perceived failure is when you allow yourself to be okay if it don't work. Oh, I'm I'm gonna go on a date, and if it don't work, oh, it's okay. So you just perceive it. I'm gonna start repairing my credit, and if it don't work, uh, you know, you're perceiving, you're putting stuff in your mind already. You're letting it boil up from past failures to stack on top so you can feel okay if it doesn't work. So you're already, in a way, defeating yourself, because what you're going to do is you're going to do things, which I said we got to get rid of the habits. And if you are working with my company, but you're continually doing the same habits, what happens when those two meet? Well, let me tell you what happened from experience. We've repaired individuals' credit, and a year later, they came back and paid all over again to start the whole process over again. We've the most that we've done with someone was 4 different times. Each time got them to a position, messed up. Got them to a position, messed up. 2 years later, 3 years later, came back again. Like, they did not deal with the habit part. If you're going to become that new individual, you got to deal with that habit, or you're going to just keep continually doing the same things over and over again. Some people allow themselves to start the process. Some people don't even allow themselves to start the process. So you can't have perceived failure. If you have perceived failure, you will look for ways to not allow stuff to continue to work for you. You will just find something, a reason to quit. And then when you quit, you'll feel good that you quit, but you had an uncomfortable side saying that I shouldn't have quit. I should have continued doing it. But you don't feel comfortable going back to doing it. If you were with a company or someone, you'll seek out someone else when all you have to do is just continue. The other thing, so that's the second level, the perceived failure. The third level, this is where it really starts to tear people up, because this is with relationships. You will have what I call intervention. An intervention is where someone will find out what you're doing, and they're going to say, that stuff don't work. Don't do it. Don't work with them, even though they've never worked with, they're going to be the one that will actually add to your perceived failure. And people do this because they don't want you to be different than them. Misery loves company. That is the truth. Look at all your friends around you. All of you have something in common. If you are going to take yourself out of that spot and have something different, they are going to intervene and try to keep you in the group. I myself removed myself from all of my friends at the age of 17. Removed. I joined the U.S. Army, and I never went back to my hometown. I removed myself because I knew internally, I didn't know how much, but I knew that there was nothing for me with that group. Nothing. So I removed myself. And yeah, I took criticism. One of my friends was murdered, and people were saying, if I was there, it wouldn't have happened. I was thinking to myself, if I was there, I could have been killed right with him. He opened the door and the person shot him, and the person that shot him was a friend of his that he had met. I didn't know this individual, but that was a friend of his. So I made the right decision, and I accepted the criticism, and I left. I stayed away, not to say that you got to do that, but what I'm saying is that if people are trying to hold you back, you have to pull yourself out, and they're going to try to intervene to say, who do you think you are? You're like us. And all it is that they're trying to make you compete. You think you're like listening to them, but you're really competing with your old self. The fourth level, which is if you can make it to this level, you're almost there. And this is confusion. You are so confused at this point. Now, I'm not talking about a confusion where like confused on what you're trying to accomplish, but you're confused because you don't know if you should just continue or if you should fall back. Like you have this cloud in your mind. And let me explain what that cloud is. That cloud is rewriting your programming. your subconscious. It's like you've overwritten the older habit, but it's still there, and it's letting you write the new habit. So like you've been looking at paying down bills. You've been looking at the progression of your credit repair. You're like, okay, uh, I'm getting there. I'm not there, but I see the work. I see the progress. It's like working out. If you don't, when you go to the gym, you don't see the stuff right away. You have to go months and months and months and months and months and years. Not to say that credit repair should take that long, but when you understand where you are starting at, you know the hill that you got to go over. And if your hill is a lot higher, and your awareness is letting you know that that hill is pretty high, but you're going to go up that hill, it may take a little bit longer time to get you where you want to be. And that's where the confusion is. It's like you're like, I'm doing this, but I don't exactly see the result yet. But you have to keep doing it. Have you ever heard the saying, I'm glad I didn't quit? I'm glad I didn't quit because I almost quit. Because right when you're about to succeed, you're going to have the quit come at you like a animal trying to grab your back and pull you back. It could be people trying to pull you back, family members that care about you. Where are you going? Who do you think you are? They're trying to pull you back. But you have to stand strong. And this is level 5, which is transformation. Level 5 for me was uh, it was enlightening, but it was also another strange phase in my life because I went through a period of, why did I deserve this type of lifestyle and other people that I knew didn't, even people that I didn't know. I had that internal pull, like uncomfortable, because I had rewritten, I know who I am and I'm staying with this, but I had some internal last things that I had to deal with that was like, man, if I would have listened to those other people, I would not be living this life that I live right now. And it's like a very thin line. I'm talking about you're walking on a tight wire and you take a step this way and you fail, and you take a step to the other side and you succeed. It's like that thin. And when I try to describe it to people, some people get it, some people don't. And then when YouTube came around, it was like, one of the days I woke up, I was putting videos on YouTube, and then one of the days I woke up and it exploded. But it exploded because what it did is it allowed me to come here to say this. Yeah, I talk about credit, I talk about debt, I talk about debt collectors, I talk about all of that stuff. But this is what's different. This is the part that allowed me to say and to understand with myself that, okay, you transform completely and you are helping people. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm telling you what my experience, so you can at least say, okay, I have someone that I can watch, and I can take from those lessons. And then when I get to where I want to be, I'm going to be able to do that for somebody. Stop competing with yourself. Stop competing with yourself. Repeat it after me. I will stop competing with myself. If you just say, if you had that picture in your mind of that new person, because when you get to your goal, you're going to know that you're that new person, because that new person with that goal could not do those habits there, or you will regress. So either you can go the way that I just showed you, or you can just take the easy route, which is the way that I'm doing it right now, or the easier route, which is, what do I want And what does an individual do that does this? And I just start doing it without question. Because when you get to that position, what are you going to do? You're going to be doing those things. So why don't you just go ahead and just overwrite the habits? And it's not easy to do it. You just do it. And I'm uncomfortable. One I learned real quick that the habits of uncomfortableness go away real quick when you don't pay attention to them. When you sit there and you just do it, like, oh, this is the goal, this is what we're going to do. And one of my one of my employees one time said, "Well, what is going to happen when this? What? Uh, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this for all of you who are still here after 25 minutes. I had a meeting with one of. I'm not going to say which company it was, but I had a meeting with one of my the staff with one of my companies, and I said that we need to fix some of this stuff, and I said I know how to fix it. I know how to fix it. And what it was I didn't know how to fix it. I had a goal of fixing it. If you have a goal of fixing something, it will be fixed because you don't have to know how. You just know what it looks like when it's fixed. I had one employee one say, what if we don't fix it? Or what if you can't? She didn't say what if it was a she. She said, what if you don't figure it out to fix it? And I turned to her and I said, I'll fix it. We will fix it and it will get fixed. And I know what it's going to look like when it's fixed. Can I, you know that that employee doesn't work for me anymore. So you can take a lesson from that on when something gets fixed. Sometimes certain people are not good for your company or not good for you, not, uh, you know, and they have to get let go. When it comes to family and friends, you don't let them go, but you let go of their influence over you. So, all right, I'm going to end the video here. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like and comment and ask your questions. If you need your reports and scores, please go to the website, your3scores.com. You can get your 3 scores, you get your 3 reports, and if you decide to work with us, we like to use that monitoring service, and that also helps me monetize the time here that I dedicate for you. The other thing is my 3 pack of letters: the cease and desist collection activities letter, statute of limitations letter, and a debt validation letter. Use those to stop debt collectors. Other links are below this video for other products and services that I offer. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.